Mrs. Burbank ashore, I wasn't able to pull her into the boat with me. Hardy studied her with admiration.
Did you notice any objects floating in the water near Mrs. Burbank?
No, nothing. Ella Mae thought of Bee's bare feet. She wasn't even wearing shoes. She had on a pretty dress. There was a gold camellia stick pin affixed right here. Ella Mae touched her fingers to her chest. She wore that pin yesterday, too.
And her purpose for being in Havenwood?
Hardy asked. By the time Ella Mae filled Hardy in on the Camellia Club's annual retreat, they'd reached the lake's edge. Hardy held up a hand and the other policeman came to a halt. Distancing himself from both Ella Mae and his team, Hardy walked up to Bee's body. For a full minute he peered down at her, his expression somber. He then squatted even closer, staring fixedly at her face.
"What's he doing?"
one of the cops murmured.
"It's like he's paying his respects," another whispered. "I've seen him do this before. Don't go thinking Hardy's soft because he sees victims as people, not just cases. He's a damn good investigator. He closes cases."
Returning to the group, Hardy addressed Ella Mae.
"Your formal statement can wait until the morning, Ms. LeFaye, but we'll need it first thing. Until then, take care of those splinters."
And with that, Ella Mae was dismissed. Hardy, whose attention was now fixed on his team, began assigning tasks. Ella Mae trudged over the lawn and through the garden. When she reached Partridge Hill's back entrance, she found her mother standing in the doorway. Seeing Ella Mae, Mae LeFaye rushed forward and enfolded her daughter in her arms.
"I saw the flashing lights and I didn't know what to think,"
she whispered in a thin, shaky voice.
"I'm okay,"
Ella Mae assured her.
"I found Mrs. Burbank in the lake. She's dead, Mom."
Adelaide glanced up at the moon. Its light fell on her long silver hair and her ageless face. To Ella Mae, her mother could have been a fairy queen from one of her childhood storybooks. All four of the LeFaye sisters were beautiful, but Adelaide possessed an otherworldly beauty that continued to ripen as the years passed. One only had to look at her to believe in magic.
"Did you see Mrs. Burbank at the resort?"
she asked, looking at Ella Mae again.
"No, I assumed the festivities were too boisterous for her, but now I'm wondering where she was while they were taking place."
Ella Mae tried to shut out the image of Bee's bloated face. "Officer Hardy will undoubtedly head to the resort when he's finished here. He'll find out what happened to her." Adelaide pointed at the second-story windows.
"Should we wake Jenny and Aiden?"
The Upton siblings had been living at Partridge Hill since they had moved to Havenwood from Tennessee. For a while, both Jenny and Aiden had worked at the Charmed Pie shop. Jenny had been a server, and Aiden had handled the deliveries. Since then, Jenny had become Ella Mae's partner, and Aiden, who'd been an electrician in Tennessee, had gone to work for his friend Finn Mercer. Finn designed furniture while Aiden made innovative light fixtures. Their business was really taking off, and Aiden had been so busy that Ella Mae hadn't seen him for days.
"Let them sleep,"
she said. "They have a double date tomorrow. Though I don't think Jenny realizes that it's a date. Actually, I doubt Finn does either."
"But Finn has feelings for you."
Her mother was clearly surprised.
"He can't just turn those off. Jenny could be headed for a miserable evening."
"Finn barely knows me," Ella Mae protested softly. "When we met, he'd just lost his mother, and I became his first friend in Havenwood. He'll always have a place in my heart because he helped rescue Aunt Dee from that burnin' barn, and I want him to find someone who will give him the love he deserves. I think Jenny is that person. Aiden does too." Adelaide smiled.
"I hope you're right. I'd like Jenny to experience a little happiness. She's had more than her fair share of suffering, and yet she never lets